After having traveled 10 years around the world, we realized that there were and there still is a gap to fill in terms of knowledge and capacities for executing this regenerative agriculture. The main reason for that gap to be filled is because most of the professionals don't learn how to execute this so-called regenerative agronomy. It is not being taught at university, and even less in the developing countries where most of the producers don't even reach university for actually learning this. We specialize in transforming soil health, soil microbiology, and ecosystem science into efficient agronomic solutions. We are indeed transitioning system from conventional to regenerative, and we also include um, regenerative grazing. It's now 10 years that we have been around the world, and we've worked with the best and the pioneers, you'd say, Ovis 21 and the Sevre Institute. We've also been with the Permaculture Institute people, where we've learned basics of like small scale regenerative farming for already a couple of years, but with a massive effort on the actual soil microbiology that we are currently working alongside Dr. Elaine Ingham with the whole soil food web network of professionals, enabling the actual magic to happen. This passion indeed about biology and nature and ecosystem functioning indeed comes back to my very early childhood. I remember having my first internship at the French National Institute of Agronomic Research, where I got fascinated by uh, learning on integrated pest management, realizing that indeed you can use a set of insects to actually control another set of insects. Along that road, we had a couple of, let's say, meaningful achievements, and one of these started in Sweden, where we could actually transition a full market garden production from actually organic at that time to microbiology based production. Then later we started to work in large scale setting in Latvia on a 5,000 hectares production farm, where we could help them transition from like conventional to, let's say, more organic, more regenerative type of farming, working on no-till and then cover crops and also soil microbiology. We could also engage in large-scale compost production, which is also one of our assets today. Later on, we also got a chance to work with a tobacco producer, where we could actually um, deploy somehow more of our experience in terms of ecosystem restoration and soil health and soil microbiology, where we have been indeed producing the first regenerative tobacco worldwide. As of today, there's no one else that has done it. You can check our documentary. And more recently, we've started to work with cacao producers, pineapple growers, and coffee producers here in South America, realizing that the actual state of the art regarding agriculture is an actual real catastrophe in terms of environment. The whole theory indeed applies to any crop. When you think from an ecosystemic point of view, you engage in well, from the soil ecosystem to the actual tree ecosystem to have a overall, let's call that a ecosystem functioning that can sustain itself, quote unquote, regenerative. We are strongly positioning ourselves from the following statement. There is no evolution possible if we are hiding away from true facts. And in this very regard, we can say that the current agricultural food system is a real catastrophe. We talk about monoculture that implies a lot of deforestation and all the consequences down the line, such as loss of soil and loss of fertility, erosion, and all those kind of consequences that we see today with other ones that are even nastier in terms of crops, slowdown of crops emergence because temperatures are rising and then soil temperatures are rising and there's less moisture in the soil. So we are actually providing solution to tackle that. If we turn our skills into a form of production, we can say that we are making our best to accelerate the adoption those regenerative agronomic principles applied to any system. For that, we have a platform of professionals that really contribute very, very, very strongly to make this whole momentum possible at field and in any place of the world. Are we actually intelligent? Human as a community is actually understanding what's happening or understanding what it's causing to its environment, aligned from the actual consequences of the mode of agriculture that we do. That's a question we are actually responding to yes, because we have the tools and of course the experience to actually execute these kind of things. We take let's call that a radical responsibility for executing the actual principles of regenerative agriculture or regenerative agronomy. We put our scientific and hands-on experience to the service of any community, would that be a corporation, single farmer, cooperative of farmers, and it can also be single small-scale farmers. We actually put together what we call formal, natural, and social science together that has at its center humans as decision makers. And from that scientific posture, we indeed apply the foundation of science, which is inquiry, objectivity, research, discovery, and laboratory. In practice, our science mixes together empirical science, which is the one that you execute at field, leaving some space for discovery, and evidence-based science, which is key to be able to reproduce the findings that we get on the empirical side of things. This posture is supporting the following philosophy, which is if we accept that life is a dynamic momentum, a dynamic thing, there is no discovery possible if we stick to some rigidified past mindset of framework that we've inherited from the past. And all these posture and mission and forms of production is actually what we we actually offer at Flor.es.sens System.